and welcome. How are you doing, Ross?
We did have mugs.
Oh yeah, mugs. We got these mugs from someone who watches the stream. Aloha from space. Thank you very much for our mugs. They're lovely and we love them. Today we're going to do the next episode of our podcast. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Ross and MiKo. This is Ross.
Hello.
And I am MiKo.
Hello.
And we are doing another episode of Happily Ever After.
Yes.
Today we're doing Lilo and Stitch, Ross.
We are doing Lilo and Stitch. I will be the keeper of truth. I have facts here. I have watched a 2-hour documentary about it.
Excellent.
I'm very excited. Looking forward to it.
I know nothing about this film. Like I've seen it once. I have some very, very specific memories of it. But that's about it. I remember the guy with the ice cream, and I remember the character, as I told you before we started recording, that looks a bit like he's an extra from Street Sharks.
Street Sharks,
which was a 90s cartoon for any of you youngsters that don't remember. What was the other one? Biker Mice from Mars.
Biker Mice from Mars, Samurai Pizza Cats.
I never saw that. I thought someone made that show up.
Well, they did.
But yeah, today we're going to be doing Lilo and Stitch, and this will be the next episode in our podcast because we did do Mulan last time, but it didn't work.
We had technical issues. We had MiKo Skyping in because of the virus, and it kept cutting out. There was some great facts, so we're going to do it again. We're
going to do it again because it was really, it's another opportunity to watch it. We both really enjoyed it, and there's loads of good.
We probably won't stream it that time. We'll just do it like this. If this goes well. Yeah. If there's problems here, then
we'll cross that bridge once we've burnt it, or however that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, today you're the keeper of truth. I'm really excited.
You should be.
Do you have, before we get more juicy with this?
Yes.
Do you have a fact that you want to hit me with off the bat?
Oh, I don't know. There's so many. I don't know which one would be a nice little boom boom. Okay, let's see. There was 3 spin-off shows. So
3 spin-off shows?
There was 3 spin-off films and then 3 spin-off shows.
Oh, wow.
So there was the Lilo and Stitch show, which you probably saw on a telly. But there was an anime.
An anime?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Called Stitch! That took place in Okinawa.
Okay.
And then there was a Chinese spin-off called Stitch and AI. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Okay.
So Stitch goes around and becomes friends with lots of different girls, pretty much.
Nice.
And then there was a web manga made set in feudal Japan.
Wow.
Called Tono and Stitch.
What was Leroy and Stitch?
That was one of the films.
Right, okay. I've never seen any of the
I've not seen them either.
Things,
I didn't watch them for this particular moment because I'm lazy. But I would like to see them because I think it's a fun franchise. And I think there's a reason why it's had so many spin-offs.
Well, let's talk briefly about that because this is a film that people that have seen it, loads of people love it. Loads of people that have seen this film that are the right age that saw it, because this was as Disney was sort of on a downtrend, and so loads of people missed it. And I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about it that haven't seen it or saw it once and don't really remember it. But I've spoken to loads of people that they absolutely love this. This is one of their favorites.
Yeah, it's got a lot of heart. And it was surprisingly, I mean, I've got another fact. Well, I can find it for you. I'll find it later. But basically, this was one of the most successful in the whole 2000s.
Oh, right.
2010. It was, it got its money back. It was critically acclaimed. It was nominated for an Oscar.
Oh.
But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
It's very exciting. And it's very different. People put it in the bracket with Emperor's New Groove of Disney trying to do. So that might be why some people don't like it. It's because they're like, oh, this isn't Disney. It doesn't look Disney. It's doing something set in modern times, and there's only so many Disney films that are.
The visual style is very different. I'm so looking forward to it because I don't. Do you know what the funniest thing is? When I was thinking of it, was my initial thought when someone says Lilo and Stitch is I want to do a Stitch impression. But I can't really remember what he sounds like, so I've no idea if my Stitch impression is really good or really bad. I think it used to be good.
Well, let's see now, and then later we can all do.
No, because people will laugh at me if they know this film better
That's
than
kind
me.
of the point of the whole thing.
I can't remember how squeaky or not it is. I can't remember if it's like, I'm also cute and fuzzy. Or if it's like, I'm also cute and fuzzy.
But it's definitely not the second one.
I'm also cute and fuzzy.
Or the third one. Keep going.
My much cute and fuzzy.
That's him, yeah. You got him.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to watching it. To see if I can do.
Excellent. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. I've got some. If I can read my own writing, I've got some interesting facts.
And we will get to the facts in the post-show. So what we're doing, this is the pre-show. This is mainly here to say hello, to establish the drinking rules, and then we will be broadcasting the film to any of you at home that don't have your own copy. Which we will be doing legally.
Yeah, so if you're listening on our podcast, we do this live on twitch.tv/Ross and MiKo.
Yes.
Where we have our chat in, so we'll be occasionally chatting to them, but you might not hear that, I don't know. But yeah, we will be streaming. If anyone in our chat is on our Discord, we will stream the film while we won't say anything because we're busy watching it.
Yeah, we'll be watching it separately because we'll be taking our notes.
But if you don't have access to the film or anything like that, we'll put it in the Discord. But yeah. I'm sure that's not illegal.
No. So you guys can watch along and you can talk to each other and stuff if you want to. Whatever
mute
you
each
want
other,
to do.
And then when you come back, we'll come back at, was it 7 o'clock our time?
Yes,
that is.
7 o'clock BST.
Just means that somebody that might not have been able to see it got to see it. And
and you don't have to do that. You can just come back for to laugh at us when we're incredibly drunk.
We will be drunk. That brings up drinking rules.
Drinking rules.
That brings up the drink. I have made a cocktail of devilish. I don't know how to do cocktails. I drink beer and I drink straight, usually vodka or whiskey. Those are my drinks. I don't like putting Coke in any of that stuff. So I have no idea of how to do any of this. So I'll bring in through what I've created. I've not got a name for it yet.
Okay,
I think we might have to pour it down the sink. And then start again.
Have you already made it?
Yeah, I've made it.
Okay.
So
yes,
here it is. Now looks can be deceiving.
Oh, that doesn't. I hope they're deceiving.
I think in this case, it looks as bad as it is.
Wow.
So do you want me to talk?
Is this glass for me?
Yes. Do you want me to talk you through what's going on there?
Yeah.
So we got the obligatory chopstick.
We do love chopsticks.
Stirring.
Yeah. This looks like it needs stirring.
I want you to get a chunk.
Okay. Why does it have chunks? It's pineapple!
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. Maybe you should have picked something other than a chopstick for that. I'll just grab that.
I should have ordered another chopstick. I should have got 2 chopsticks.
Yeah. They usually come in pairs. So the irony is you've made this.
Yeah, I made it harder than it should be.
Yeah.
So here's to Lilo and Stitch. Let's hope that this doesn't kill us.
Yeah. Chin chin.
I mean...
That could be worse. It's the pineapple is so overpowering that it gets rid of...
I thought the coconut gets in there a little.
Yeah, the coconut's good. But there's another taste underneath that's nasty.
Oh, there's many tastes.
The pineapple coconut is making this like the dirtiest pina colada ever.
So...
You want to tell me what's in it?
I'll try and remember it. So
dirt?
No, I'm not that bad. Oh, although I think I'm having reactions.
Turns out I'm allergic to pineapple.
Oh. So in here I've got the fruit twist Fanta.
Okay.
To begin with.
Classic mixer.
There is a very dark rum.
Okay, good.
There is that coconut alcoholic thing which I can't remember the name of.
Malibu?
Yes,
okay.
There's Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? Oh yes, there is mango smoothie.
Oh, right. Wow. Wow.
And then chunks pineapple. And I think that's everything.
Cool. Wow.
I could be wrong.
That's, yeah. It's got...
Out of 10? Numbers? Any numbers?
I don't...
I'm kind of hoping that when you eat the pineapple, it's all nice.
I'd give it a solid 6.5. It's... The aftertaste is quite nice. It's the foretaste.
Okay, all the other tastes.
The first bit kind of punches the back of your tongue.
I think once you get used to it, much like
most alcohol
or any kind of horrible society, once you just kind of succumb to it and just know that this is all we're drinking.
Call it the capitalism.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can just give it a name like a.
Ohana's always a good. That's a Stitch thing. Oh, you should call it Experiment 626.
Yes, perfect. There you go.
There you go.
So we'll have details. We might modify once we've finished this. Might change it to make it a little less brown because it had a really nice color. I tell you what happened, right? It was kind of a nice purpley. It was really good. I was like,
right, yeah.
I'm doing really well at this.
Yeah.
And then I added the smoothie. And then it just all clouded up.
Here, I'm dreading eating the chunk of pineapple at the end of this.
That's going to be the best thing.
Now, we need a reason to drink. We need our drinking rules.
So then for this, the particular one's for Lilo and Stitch. So names is a standard that we do. We drink every time someone says a name of one of the main characters.
And because you don't like doing the drinking rules as much as me, I try to be gracious and let you pick the name first. So Lilo or Stitch, mate?
That's pretty much going to be it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, God, they say it so much. I'm going to go for Stitch.
You're going to drink every time they say Stitch?
Yeah.
I'll drink every time they say Lilo.
I think there's a lot of all of that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So some of the others that I thought of, if I can remember correctly, anytime Agent Bubbles looks really unimpressed.
Which is how he always
That's his main thing.
Whenever you make up drinking rules, you always have a rule like that that's just...
Hey, it's the Lion King.
Whenever this character's on screen...
Hey, Lion King, whenever there's a lion on the screen, whenever someone says Ohana...
Ohana.
Means family. Means family.
Every time Stitch destroys something...
Yeah, that's nasty. That's cruel. I have a feeling Ross isn't going to pick that one for himself.
And then and every Elvis reference. And there's probably other ones that I haven't thought of.
Okay.
But that's a good start, I think.
That's an excellent start. You did good.
Thank you very much once again. I'm just doing so well.
I want to add the number 626 to that, which if anyone hasn't seen the film or doesn't know that, I believe that's what Stitch is.
If that is incorrect, then we will change that accordingly.
Yes.
But I think you're right.
So anytime, I think people refer to him as that, the people that are trying to catch him or something. I can't remember, it's been so long. So anytime someone says 626, I will take a drink for that as well. So the way this works, because Ross doesn't like to drink and rules as much as me, we will both do all the Disney classics, which are Singing, Dancing, Evil Laugh, Dead or Missing Parents, and a fifth mystery one that we cannot remember now.
That might kill us alone. There's so much singing and dancing in this.
And he has to pick two of the specific rules. So he's got the name already, and I'll let him get away with just one other drinking rule.
I'm going to go for... just to spite you and your Twitter account, I'm going to go every Elvis reference.
Okay, that's a reference to my... angry tweets this morning, but
he doesn't like Elvis.
We can get into that another time. Okay, and I will do all of them. I do all the drinking rules. So tune back in at 7 p.m. to see what state I'm in after.
Gonna be a mess.
Drinking enough of this 626. So yeah, there we go. I think those are well done, Ross. On one, you made an actual cocktail. I mean, not one that would be sold anywhere, but like
that might kill us.
You did a thing, and you had drinking rules prepared.
But I don't know how to do cocktails, and especially around here, you go like I can look online, and it's like, oh, you need to add spaloonins and flackles and bilangos, and you're like, wow, I need to get all this stuff, and you go to the shop, and it's like you can have vodka or whiskey. Like, cool, that's why most of my cocktails are vodka and whiskey with apple juice or something.
A vodski. That's what they drink in the room.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
nice reference.
We have a cocktail. We have drinking rules.
We've got the film.
Yeah. When was the last time that you saw this film?
Probably last year. Do you know what? I think I might have seen this film more than some of the others of this era. Right. Just because it's so nice and short, and it's just a nice one to put on every so often, and you don't feel like it's a big... It's just really nice. So yeah, I've seen it quite a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about or ask about Lilo and Stitch before we go into the film Lilo and Stitch and watch Lilo and Stitch together in the film Lilo and Stitch?
No, not particularly. I think we've covered what we know and we remember. You've seen it more recently than me, so it's more fresh in your mind. You very much wanted to do this film.
A very long time. I think there's a thing about this film which... touches my heart.
Which is a rare thing to do. Because you hide that shit.
It's a tiny heart. It's like a little peanut.
And you keep it like behind your kneecap.
I keep it under the sofa.
Right. Yeah. Let's wrap this up, shall we? We are going to go and watch Lilo and Stitch now. Those of you that are watching along with us, we bid you good luck if you're joining in with the drinking rules. And everyone else, we'll see you when we come back for the post-show. You ready to go?
Ready to go. Let's go. Go, go, go.
It's a dingle hopper.
Welcome back to Ross and MiKo. We have just watched Lilo and Stitch. This is Ross.
Hello.
And I am MiKo.
Hey.
And we are here right now having watched that film. What did you think of it, Ross?
Yeah. I mean, I liked it before, so I liked it more now.
It was amazing.
It was all down to whether or not you enjoyed it. But before we go into that,
okay.
How did we do in our drinking rules?
I drank a lot off the thing. We had to get a new picture.
But this one's different. This is Mark II.
This is 627.
Yes.
Experiment 627.
But I believe in the Lilo and Stitch universe, he went from 626 to something else. So
it has a much richer color. It looks less like sewer water.
I just got rid of the mango smoothie.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what this is. Ross, spill all the Lilo and Stitch secrets. Oh yes, we'll get into secrets. So this is nicer, I think.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, it looks nicer, but I don't know if that means it tastes nicer. The mango is quite nice.
It tastes the same, but that's not my problem. But how did you enjoy it? After having said, this was a film I vaguely remember. Having watched it again, having sat next to you watching it, I heard lots of noises.
Yeah, I'm a noisy person.
Explain those
watching
noises.
a film. I'm an emotional man. I get into things. Yeah, it was amazing. It really hooked me in. So I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And when it started, my fears were kind of confirmed in the sense that I didn't care about any of the characters. So you had the head of the intergalactic space force, whatever, talking to the bad doctor. And we just didn't really care about any of these characters, and even Stitch. Like, everything was introduced in a very new, like, already developed. Just here's what they are.
Yeah, they're in the middle of a thing. But you were enjoying Stitch from the get go.
Oh yeah, no, Stitch was great.
I feel like I've got this kind of thing to keep drinking every time we say Stitch now.
Yeah,
it's really annoying.
I've written down that he's maybe one of the best Disney characters ever, and we'll get into that. He's great. He's phenomenal, and the whole Ohana stuff. Yeah, I just loved it. I cried more than I thought I was going to. I laughed more than I thought I was going to. This was so much better than I was expecting it to be. And it's a film that I'd seen before when I was much younger, so I had an idea of it, and rewatching it just elevated it to new levels. Amazing film. Loved it.
Good. Very good. Apparently, this film began as a children's book. So the man, Chris Sanders, one of the directors.
So we talked about this briefly during the film, because I noticed that in the introductory credits, it said based on an idea by this person. So not based on a book, not based on a script, not written by or created by, based on an idea. Yeah, it just seemed like a very odd thing to include. Based on
so
idea.
What happened was apparently they got Chris Sanders and the other director and writer, Dean DeBlois. DeBlois, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
DeBlois.
They basically put them in a room on their own for a year to develop the story on their own.
Can you imagine being in a room with me for a year?
Absolutely not.
One room.
Good note. Stop it, please. Stop it. So yeah, this film was a reaction to the failure of the previous two Disney films.
Which were?
That's a good question. Somewhere I'll find it.
What year was this? And I'll be able to tell you what the previous.
So this was 2000, released in 2002.
Okay, so it would have been Atlantis and Emperor's New Groove?
Yes, correct. They failed to perform.
Right.
And I think it was it's Eisner. He was like, all right, maybe we should do a Dumbo approach. Because what happened in the last time that this happened really bad was when they made Dumbo, the two films before it, Pinocchio and
Snow White.
Snow White. Was it Snow White?
Yeah.
All right. They were under.
Maybe Bambi was before it.
I've got it here somewhere. I'll find it.
Bambi and Dumbo were very close together. I can't remember which one was
they
first.
really underperformed, but they took so much time to make.
Right.
So it was like the rewards against the effort. So we're like, let's do a really technologically low key film and see how that does. So that's why all they did was they got two people, locked them in a room, come and pitch us a story when it's ready. Two of the dogs in the kennel when we first meet Stitch. There's a little cute little, I don't know, it's like a French pug thing or something. That's Dean DeBlois' dogs. And That one, and in the documentary, by the way, there is a documentary about the making of this film called The Story Room, The Making of Lilo and Stitch. It's on YouTube for free. For how long, I don't know. It's 2 hours long. It's great. Still doing interviews with all of them. You get to see them all making it as it happens. It's really cool, in-depth thing. But you see, like, so some of Stitch's earlier noises, where he's like, they've got his little dog comes into the studio, nice. And they've got him and they're like teasing him with a ball and stuff, and he's like slobbering all over it and going, very, very cute. So anyway, yeah. So that's the origin of it, and it started off with Stitch being part of a space gang. Right. So the story was very different. So he was part of a space gang, and then he escapes for reasons, ends up on Earth. There's no Lilo in the original story.
Oh, right.
So like some of the big key heart moments of it had to be beaten out in this room with them, and that's why some of it seems like maybe leftovers, especially early on of another story. I think that's where it came from. Stitch, an incredible animation thing, doesn't have pupils.
Okay.
Stitch doesn't have pupils, and normally they're one of the most helpful things for making a character alive.
Making emotion.
So they had to go full with the physicality. Stitch doesn't have pupils. Really, really, really clever, interesting.
He uses his mouth really well. Do you want to know one of the notes that I took?
Please do, yeah.
Inspector Bubbles, Detective Bubbles.
According to the IMDb,
Bubbles.
his first name is Cobra Bubbles.
Cobra Bubbles.
So.
When Cobra Bubbles turns up and asks if she feels safe or something like that, and she starts giving all the speech that Nanny is sort of narrating behind her. Before she starts, she opens her mouth exactly how Stitch opens his mouth to play the record, which is a really cool narrative thing because Stitch opens his mouth that way to play the sound of someone else's voice because he's doing Elvis.
Yeah.
And Lilo does that in the exact same way to play the record that has been written by Nanny. Which I just thought was a really cool...
That's really cool. They do other mirroring things with those two characters earlier on. They do, when she attacks the wee girl and bites her and she goes, is this infected? That's a mirroring of at the start when the big captain gets bitten and then he's sitting on it and he's goes, is this infected?
Yeah.
And also she slobbers all over Nanny, and it's the same way that Stitch slobbers over
Can we talk about her first piece of violence in this film? Because
You loved that, yeah.
I loved it, but it was... So, my memory of this film was all about Stitch. I didn't remember pretty much anything about Lilo. Lilo was awesome, and I'm sad and angry and disappointed that I didn't remember more about Lilo, because she's a great character. And long before Stitch comes into her life, there's the bit where she goes to the dance and she attacks this bitch that's been all mean girls. And but she doesn't just jump on her like would happen in a normal Disney film. She properly hammer fists her face. Like, for any of you that are big UFC fans, there's UFC happening later tonight. I will be watching. But yeah, she gets her full fucking guard and then just like hammer fists her face. And I was so in shock because I was just not expecting that. I was expecting all kinds of things, but I was not expecting proper hammer fist to the face. That is a brutal move by young Nanny, by young Lilo, sorry.
Yeah. I can talk you through a little bit. Sorry, I just noticed there that in our Twitch chat, Alex is the etymology of Stitch. That Stitch is obviously a name that Lilo gives the pet to try and heal the family. Lilo's name, it means lost or generous one in Hawaiian.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So they're together.
What does Nanny mean?
Well, see, now this is where it gets interesting.
Okay, nice.
Because the theory is the names Lilo and Stitch come from, give me a second, probably named after Queen Lilalua. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know how it's pronounced that. We'll write it in the chat. But basically, the first letters are Li and the last ones are Nani. So they thought that the parents maybe named them after the last queen of Hawaii.
Okay.
Who is the person who wrote the song Aloha that they sing, which means it might have been a song that their parents sang to them. Do you have any questions about fish?
No, I need a second.
Okay, because it gets deeper.
No, because that cocktail you made.
All right. Good, isn't it? This one's better. This one's got flavour.
I'm so drunk I can barely see.
All right. Where were you?
The next thing I wrote, Ross.
What was it?
It was not a lot of character development at the start. Relating into that, we were just told who these people were, and that was it. There wasn't a lot of caring about the scientist or the street shark or
you're still in the space
president.
stuff.
Yeah,
right. You're still in space. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, I don't know what you want.
That was the start. That was the start of the movie. That was the start of the movie, and there wasn't any sort of development of any of the characters. There wasn't any. It was very much, this is who this is. This is what they are. Move on. Which, again, you're only talking like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but that's what it is. Okay, the next thing I wrote.
Oh my goodness, this is getting better and better.
It was shot more like a TV show than it was a movie. And this is something that you spoke on a little bit. I don't know if it was budget restraints, constraints.
Yeah, it was a deliberate choice to do a less technical film to make it quicker and make it slightly more in a budget.
Which is fine. It doesn't make it a bad film, but it was just something worthy of noting.
It is, and it was a choice. It's not an accident. It's not they're all incompetent. It was a deliberate choice. And I would also argue with you the point that it's bad animation. In fact, the character animation...
I didn't say it was bad animation.
The character animation more than makes up for the fact that they've... So what they did was, this is the first film since Dumbo, actually. There's several relationships to Dumbo here. Also, Dumbo is about an outcast. The decision to make this...
There's like a 60-year difference between these films.
Yeah, the decision to make this a cheaper film was the same decision they made when they made Dumbo. Right. And this is the first film since Dumbo that they used watercolor backgrounds.
Oh, wow.
Because for the whole time, they thought watercolors are more problematic, because what they're doing is they're putting them on a light box and then filming them. That's how you do it. Yeah. But the light's bleeding through and bouncing back. Yeah, it's got a stained glass window effect, the backgrounds.
Right.
So what we're seeing is, it looks like telly. But in actual fact, they took all the artists and they had to give them lessons in watercolor, because watercoloring is one of the hardest things to do. Because once you stick in a solid color, it's fine. If you can color everything in and nothing bleeds through, then that's that color. But if there's watercolor, then it just doubles the difficulty. And they thought, this might be a pain in the arse. But it turned out to be, I think, worked really well. Wow. But people will notice it and think, this is just for telly, because there's none of that multi-planing where they put things in front of other things. And I think they do it once or twice in the film, but only when it's really dramatically appropriate. But the rest of the backgrounds are all just solid watercolor, which is really cool, I think. So that's a Dumbo. Did you see the Dumbo?
Did I see Dumbo?
There was a Dumbo in the film.
I did not see the Dumbo.
There's a Dumbo in the film.
What? Where's the Dumbo?
I will not tell you where it is. You'll have to go and rewatch it. But there is a little...
No. Is it a toy in the house?
There is a little Dumbo in the film.
That's cool. I didn't see it.
There's also at least 3 hidden Mickeys. So if anyone doesn't know the hidden Mickeys...
I was looking out for them.
You'll understand what they are instantly. But yeah, a hidden Mickey Mouse kind of shape. So there's at least 3. I think there might be more. What did you next notice?
My next note was just one of my favorite lines in anything ever. It totally stood out to me as an amazing line, which was, "Why are you all wet?" And going, "It's sandwich time."
Sandwich day. Yeah, it's Thursday. It's sandwich day. Did you notice the thing at the very beginning when all the fish were moving around? So she goes to feed a fish she calls Pudge. A peanut butter sandwich every Thursday.
Yes.
And they're like, "Well, why'd you do that?" And she's like, "Well, because he controls the weather."
Yes.
That is because, and it's not kind of fully because they don't need to, and it's really sad. Again, take a drink. It's because their parents died in a car crash in bad weather.
Yes.
So obviously, as part of her recovery, she's thought, if I go and feed this fish every Thursday, which is presumably when they died.
Right.
That's why she gets so emotional about it.
Wow.
I know, it's such a good film. It's so sad.
That's great.
Dark. And we know when they died, and it was recent. We also know that they probably loved Elvis, which is why she does.
Yeah.
It's part of her depression.
Yeah.
It's to get over it. But it's never fully spoken. It's just there in the background.
Just there in the background, yeah. Just this young girl that likes Elvis. Yeah. So the next thing I had, Kapu.
Yes.
Kapu was on the door, and I asked you about that at the time. I said, do you know what Kapu means? And you said, yes, but you didn't tell me what.
Yes.
So now is the time, Ross.
This is the etymology thing. So Kapu is Hawaiian. It has elements of the Fijian word tabu, which in English we use as taboo. And it basically means keep out. So when we say taboo, that's actually from the etymology of that is from Fijian.
Oh, cool.
For keep out. So there you go. So it's the Hawaiian for keep out.
Oh, cool. Nice.
A little related thing. There you go.
Love that. You want me to carry on? Do you want me to go from my list? So the next thing I wrote is something that I think we're probably going to have a good talk about. You might have some notes on it. I don't know. You're the keeper of truth. But I wanted to talk about female body types. I wanted to talk about the representation.
You always want to talk about female body types.
I wanted to talk about the representation of female physicality in this film, as opposed to every previous Disney film. Like Nani was obviously in great shape. She was a physical beauty. They didn't Disneyfy her in inverted commas, as it were. She was a thick lass, and I think that was pretty iconic at the time, pretty different. And we've spoken about Atlantis with the little chubby baby. We've spoken from that about Moana, even though we haven't watched that together, about the little chubby baby and stuff. And obviously Lilo was a wee chubby girl. But having her big sister, who was in great shape but still not your stereotypical, I don't know, cookie cutter kind of Disney princess kind of shape.
Yeah, well, what happened, part of that in that documentary, where some of the artists are like, normally what happens in a Disney film is, you know, you get some sketches, you get some concept art of characters, and then it's down to the whoever's the lead of the character to etch out whether you've got Peter Pan or you've got Hook or you've got whatever. Whereas this one, Chris Sanders had done the kind of the art for it, and he was like, yeah, you guys do whatever you want, and they were all like, we need to learn how to draw like him, because these are all unique. These aren't Disney things. Like, he's got style, and he's like, I don't have a style. And it's like, you've got a style, and we're gonna learn it, because that's part of the thing. So it came from, I think, his drawings.
Because this is very different human drawings from any other Disney film. It's not just that it started a new era, like, because you've got like Hercules and Mulan and Emperor's New Groove and Tarzan, and they were all different styles from any other era of Disney, but they were all similar styles to each other. Whereas this film, I don't think there's any other Disney film that presents humans in the way that this film does. It represents them in a completely unique fashion, and I think that's really cool and really interesting to see.
I like the way you said
fashion.
Yeah.
This is drunk MiKo trying to sound articulate.
It works.
So I go through my internal thesaurus and try not to repeat myself.
So you're at the F section of this.
Yeah,
nice. No, absolutely spot on. And you guys were talking about some other stuff later, which we can get into. But please carry on with
my list.
With your list.
I don't have too much more. Okay, so here's a big one. Here is a big MiKo thought. Stitch isn't just an underrated character. Stitch is top tier Disney characters of all time. Top 10 Disney characters of all time.
It's funny you should mention that, because when it came out, I mean, they were like, this is like from a toy point of view, and there's something about the character that resonates with so many people. I think everyone's got a bit of Stitch in them, so that helps. Adults see the cheekiness, kids see the cuteness, The sadness is also there,
The rebellion,
and also you can sell him in a little Elvis outfit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were. This is part of the reason why it was so successful, is like that character and the way he was drawn as well, which is not normally a Disney style.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it all fit, and yeah, no eyes, essentially just big black pupils, but somehow so much character and energy. It's brilliant.
Yeah, animated incredibly to get that personality across, because like you say, it was not about the face, it was about the physicality, which is rare for a Disney film, but they did it so well. And I think he stands up there with Genie, with Baloo, with the top Disney characters of all time. And I think it's a shame, because I think this film is often overlooked, and as an extension, Stitch is often overlooked, and I don't think he should be. I from the very beginning of this film, I was like, this is a great fucking character, and it never let up. Not at any point. His character just grew and grew and grew, and I just loved him more and more and more. Amazing character, really unique, really different, and deserves more credit when we talk about the most iconic Disney characters of all time.
All right, cool. We'll take a pause there to look at chat.
One short discussion with the live chat later.
Anyway, let's get back to the Lilo and Stitch podcast.
All right.
Hoopla! We're back. Where were we? You were going on your list.
Right, you want me to carry on my list?
Yeah, we've only got like fucking 2 days to get this done.
All right, so I've written down the word heartbreaking. No context to that. I don't know why I wrote that down.
Well, most of it is heartbreaking as soon as it gets started.
It's a very...
There's so many scenes that end with Lilo or Stitch on their knees, just sad.
Yeah.
Or Nanny.
I think... Okay, well, that leads me on to one of my next ones. Nanny's the best. What an underrated character. If we were to do a list of underrated Disney characters, Nanny has just propelled herself to the top of that list for me. She never once blames Lilo for her problems, and even though Lilo is absolutely objectively in the way of her trying to get new jobs and stuff like that, she doesn't give her shit about that. Like Nanny is caring and patient and trying her fucking best, and she's not perfect. Like Bubbles has a point with a lot of the things that he says. Like he's trying to get the best life for Lilo, and Nanny maybe isn't it in a lot of ways, but she's fucking trying, and they get that across so well without punching us in the throat with it. Do you know what I mean? They don't like go overboard with making us fucking feel sorry for Nanny. She just is she's just a very well developed character, so they don't need to. Mm-hmm. They don't need to force it down our throats. We're just like, yeah, do you know what? She's great. Like, she's so loving and caring, and
she gets up as soon as like it looks like everything's miserable, and then David comes knocking on the door being like, I've got a job, and she's like, all right, let's go. And again, she'll figure out like Lilo, are you all right? You're good on your own. I'm gonna go out and do this. She's great. She's so cool, and her relationship with Lilo is great, and something that you don't normally see. It's something we're both fans of a TV show called Gravity Falls, which is available on Disney Plus. You should watch it. It's amazing. And one of the interesting and iconic things about Gravity Falls is you have a brother and a sister who really get on, who really like each other, and it's such a strangely rare thing in TV to have siblings that just genuinely like each other, and so seeing that in Lilo and Stitch as well, like, really hit that same part of my brain where I was like, I like this. Lilo had a great line about saying, I prefer you as a sister to a mother. Yes, that had to be added. So apparently after the first test audience, they all came and was like, I really loved the characters. I thought it was really lovely. Thought the mom was really cool. And Chris Sanders was like, and then other people started saying that as well. And he's like, but that's not the point. Right, so that's why that scene, he's like, yeah, they say it 3 times in that scene.
Right, okay.
I like you better as a sister. I like you better, like, and not a mom. I like you as a sister. Like, so he had to like hit them 3 times to get the audience to be like, they're sisters, please. Right. It's really important.
I thought that was really great, and I've got Lilo different and cool.
Nice.
Lilo very different from a normal mainstream Disney lead. I can completely see why young girls that watched that film growing up completely related to Lilo. With her creepy doll and her trying to be friends with everyone but being a bit weird and like being nice but not being a fucking pushover. Like, even though it was overlooked by a lot of people and gets dismissed by a lot of people, I can completely see why this was massive to so many young girls. And I think the reason is not Stitch, it is Lilo.
Yep, she's brilliant. I can tell you a little thing about the young girl that plays the voice.
Yes, please do. Please do.
She...
Love my voice acting facts.
Yeah, well, I've got them. I've got some here. Let's see. Her name's Davy Chase.
Okay.
I believe I'm pronouncing that right. She actually. So this film was nominated for Best Animated. There were 2 other Disney housed films nominated this year.
Okay.
One of them was another Disney film. The other one was another film that Disney Umbrella kind of put out. Right. What do you call that?
Produced?
Not produced. They
distributed.
Distribute. Thank you very much. Can you guess what they are?
What year was this again? 2002?
This is 2002, but it might have been the 2001 Oscars because you know how the Oscars are. They're weird with timing and all that.
I don't know. Monsters Inc. was 2001.
That's not Disney. I'm talking Disney ones.
I'm talking Disney distributed though.
Oh,
so
right,
I was thinking on those lines. Like the next one of theirs would be Finding Nemo if it's Pixar. I don't know. No, tell me.
All right, so Lilo and Stitch, Spirited Away. And I don't have it here.
That was 2001.
Yeah,
well,
that's what I'm saying.
2002 Oscars.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They do.
Right.
The Oscars are silly devils.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the third one now. Hold on. I should have set this up before. How embarrassing.
I mean, you did set up this question.
Yeah.
And didn't have the answers ready.
No.
Whose fault is that, Ross?
Terrible person.
Ross.
Well, what was the other one that came out this time? It was. I think it might have been Atlantis.
You've got all the notes there. So Atlantis was 2001.
Oh, Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet, Spirited Away, and this one.
Right.
The little girl that plays Lilo also did the English dub of Spirited Away, Chihiro.
Oh, nice.
So she was up for. I don't know if they invited her. I hope they invited her to the Oscars. She was amazing.
Yeah, she was in 2 of the nominated films.
And it's really funny watching them say like how they hired her for this. They were like, yeah, we had all these young girls coming in, and it was really difficult. And then she came in, and she was really quiet and just sat there. And they're like, okay, say this. And she came and she just went, and then she sat back down really quietly. And they were like, that was really weird, but amazing. And she just went, thanks. And they were like, that's a girl.
That's a girl.
So yeah, that's really cool.
That reminds me of the fact that I had about this film. The only interesting Disney nerd fact that I had about this film before we started, which I got from when we were doing the Mulan podcast, the Forgotten Mulan podcast, which is that the girl who voiced Nani, whose name I can't remember.
Tia Korea. Thank
you. She was meant to voice Mulan.
Yep.
But then she got replaced, or she couldn't do it, or whatever. Either way, she didn't end up doing it. And in Nani's bedroom in this film, there is a poster of Disney's Mulan.
Yes.
As a tribute to the fact that she was meant to be Mulan. Oh, there's more.
There's another one. In one of the scenes where you get to see some of the town, there's a restaurant called Mulan Wok.
No, is there really?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Oh
no! One of the ladies that plays one of the old ladies, she also plays an old lady in Mulan. And the guy that plays your biscuit boy, Jason Scott Lee.
My biscuit boy.
Your biscuit boy David, aka Jason Scott Lee, is going to be in the live action Mulan. The other thing you didn't notice, I thought you might have, was David, your boy, your biscuit.
My boy, my biscuit.
He had the necklace with the hook.
Yeah. The Maui's hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Polynesian thing.
It is, yeah. But I thought you went like, ooh, I thought you were going to point it out. But...
Well, I didn't know if it was. I still don't know if it's actually relevant to Moana or anything else. It's just a Polynesian thing. The fishing hook means good luck, and so you'll find that everywhere from New Zealand to Samoa to Hawaii. It's just a Polynesian symbol of good luck.
While we're talking about Jason Scott Lee and Tia Carrera, they both helped with the writing of the dialogue to make it more authentic.
Oh, that's cool.
That's one of the things that you guys were talking about, which I thought was really cool that you noticed, was when they decided to use Hawaii as the backdrop, they all went and well, I say they all went, there's like the two of them and maybe three of them, went and did drawings and stuff, and they had a tour guide, and one thing they noticed was the tour guide knew everyone as if they were family. Yeah. So that strongly made them think, the more they went on with the plot, they were like, and the animators would be jealous, the ones back home, they'd be like, oh yeah, we met this old guy, and it turns out this guy was there, and they'd be like, well, can we do that? And they were like, that became part of the thing. And there's a deleted scene, which are all available on YouTube, where, I mean, there's a few of them, and we'll get to another one as well, which is the big one. But there's a deleted scene where Lilo's walking down the street, and loads of tourists keep turning up and kind of being racist to her. Right. Just being like, hey, do you speak English? Which way to the beach? She's like, that way. And then another one turns up and says something similar, which way to the beach? And like, just kind of being really rude. So when she gets to the beach, she asks, there's like a tsunami warning test thing going off. So she asks someone, oh, is that going off today? And they're like, yeah. So she goes on the beach and just starts shouting at all these tourists to be like, when this thing goes off, you're all gonna die. So and she gets Stitch to stand up and like, die, kind of like that, and then it goes off, and then they all freak out and run everywhere. But they had to change that scene a little bit because it was a little bit too dark. But yeah, it brought in that racism and that idea of Americans and the rest of us treating Hawaii like it's not a home for people.
Tourist destination rather than anything else. Yeah,
which I thought was really, really cool. It's a bit of a shame they cut it. But have you finished everything on your list?
I think I have. Yeah, give me all your fascinating facts, oh keeper of truth.
Well, let's see what's left, because we went through quite a lot, so that was good. So I said earlier, it's one of only 2 Disney films released in the 2000s, so I'm assuming that means between 2000 and 2010, to meet critical praise and get its money back. Can you name the other one?
Okay, that's a fun one. So we've got Atlantis, Treasure Planet. I don't know if Emperor's New Groove counts in that as 2000. Princess and the Frog was 2009, but they generally consider that to be the next decade, at least the next era. That was part of the revival era, I think they call it. Chicken Little, Home on the Range, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt.
You have named it.
I have named it.
Remember, critical and
made its money back.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Princess and the Frog.
You are correct.
There we go, right.
So that's crazy, isn't it? Because those are the ones that we kind of feel like we need to fight the most. Well, now that you like this film now, I feel like Lilo and Stitch and Princess and the Frog are the ones that people haven't seen the most. But
Princess and the Frog, I definitely go to bat for. When someone tells me they haven't seen that film, I get evangelical on them. I'm like, you need to watch this film. It's amazing. How dare you not have seen this film? All that stuff.
All right,
you're going to get sent to hell. I go full on with
full heaven and hell. Chris Sanders and Dean Du Bois are in the scene. Remember last time we were talking about how many directors are in the scenes?
Yes.
Those two are in the scene where they all run from, when Stitch has got dressed as Elvis and gets a guitar and then goes nuts. Yeah. Those are 2 guys that run away. Okay. So they're in. So that's a thing for our future notes.
Clements and Musker type cameo.
Here's a little voiceover thing. Keith David,
speaking of Princess and the Frog,
was considered for the role of Bubbles.
Oh, of course.
That would have been cool. So the scene where Stitch is going a little bit crazy in Lilo's room, and she puts a lay over him, the flowers.
Calms him down.
Apparently the white flowers symbolize love. Oh. Which is a really nice, and I like my micro themes.
Yes.
All he needs is love, and then suddenly he's calmed down, and
all you need is love.
That's
classic Elvis song.
There you go. But that's a really nice way of summing up the film in in a very beautiful way, I thought. So yeah, deleted scenes. This is quite a big one because we talked about that the racist tourists one.
Mm-hmm.
The other one. This is one of the few films. I've got this somewhere, but I'll find it. It doesn't matter. The details don't matter. Not in facts. It's one of the few films for Disney. I think it's 3 films where they made a scene, and then they've gone back and changed it after they've pretty much animated it all. So what happened at the end with Stitch coming to save them in the plane thing, the spaceship, that comes out, the amazing shot.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a Boeing 747.
Okay.
So when they're on the bike and they're like, let's go do something crazy, let's go and save Lilo, and they drive away, the next scene of that was going to be them breaking into, is it Honolulu Airport? Or the local airport, stealing a Boeing 747, and then flying it up through the sky, through the city, and doing the cool maneuver that they did, but instead of it was mountains, it was going to be a city.
Right.
And then that was like the big climax. And in the documentary, the making of Lilo and Stitch, that got huge. Like the audience applauded when.
Oh really?
When it came out. So
why did they cut it?
Well, 9/11.
Oh.
And it must have been heartbreaking because in the documentary you see them before obviously that all happens. They were really excited. They're like, this is the bit. This is because this film has been a bit of a struggle to make, and the bit where the audience were on their feet and clapping and being like, yes, this bit. And then so they were arguing for days about how much of the bit beforehand they should make and how much of a surprise it should be. And then 9/11 happened, but apparently no one asked them from Disney to change it. They all just turned up at work and started to do it.
Right.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
So that one was the big one. So you can see that on the YouTubes if you want. There's like the Boeing 747. Nowadays it's not as impactful, I think, but straight after, like the years after then, it would have been like seeing a plane flying through a thing would be horrible.
I understand. Yeah.
So
it's cool that everyone was on the same page.
Yeah, it's like no one asked, no one made a phone call. They all just turned up at work and went, well, we've got to change this now.
Yeah.
So yeah, no one was asked.
That's cool.
So we got the Mulan. I think we're almost done. We just need to do the
firing through these, mate.
Yeah. Oh, the kids' school that they got to do the music. That's really beautiful. Again, on the documentary, they film it. There's these it's the Kinkamehameha Children's Orchestra.
Okay.
So they do some of the music, the soundtrack, the vocals, the orchestra stuff, if you will. And they're really,
I will not.
They're really, really cute. They flew them all over because it's just a small school that this they found that this lady had started, and they flew them over before the film came out to America for a special screening, which I thought was really cute. So you can see them singing on the documentary. It's really lovely.
That's very lovely.
So the other 2 Disney things that had scenes cut before release were Snow White and Black Cauldron. There you go. That's that.
So say that again.
Snow White and the Black Cauldron were the other 2 films that had scenes cut before it was released, rather than cut in early times. So they'd already done it. So there you go.
What were those scenes?
That's a question for another. Snow White they did loads, because remember that was the first time they'd ever done it.
Yeah.
So they were like, let's do this, and that didn't work, and let's do that. So they did it loads. I don't know about Black Cauldron. That was a bit of a mess.
I'm so looking forward to watching that. I've never seen it.
It's bad, but it's. I mean, yeah.
It's the Disney film that everyone forgets.
Mm-hmm. Third Disney animated and not to be based on the original story. I didn't know if that was true or not. That's an IMDb fact, and I started to think about it, and I'm like, I don't know, and then I've not checked.
First Disney film to be animated. Third Disney
animated Disney film that is not based on an original story.
Oh, what are the first 2?
Dinosaur and Lion King. I thought Bambi was original, but it's a kid's book, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I just thought The Rescuers was something they made up, but maybe not.
Dumbo. Interesting. That's an interesting claim.
Exactly,
you're right to be skeptical about that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we get into we'll do some voiceover stuff.
Yes, voiceover stuff. We need to have a fucking transition for Voiceover time.
Oh, that's gonna be bad.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Voiceover time.
All right, so we'll start with this. So the one of the big amazing things of this film was the advertising campaign. Do you remember any of that?
I remember briefly, vaguely, Stitch appearing in other Disney films. Is this what you're talking about?
Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid. They got the original actors back to do the voices of Aladdin, Mermaid.
No way.
Yeah, and Beauty from Beauty and the Beast, Belle.
It is on our promo stuff when we do the drinking rose, where I've got the characters at the side. That comes from Lilo and Stitch. So in the initial poster or DVD cover or whatever it was, you had Stitch in the middle, and then you had all these random Disney characters at the side. And so if you ever see a picture of our Disney drinking rose, you have Beast and Genie up at the top left and right respectively, and then all these other characters including Mickey and Dopey and all this other stuff. And that comes from a thing that I stole from Lilo and Stitch. Yeah.
Well, it's really funny in the documentary. They were like, "Yeah, we brought in these voice actors, these amazing voice actors from our collective history." And like, okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna be on the carpet with Jasmine, and then Stitch is gonna fly by in a rocket ship and go, "Hey," and then she's gonna go, "Ooh," and then go with him. And the Aladdin guy was like, "But what about that?" None of them got it. And the same with Little Mermaid and Belle. They were like, do I hit him? And they're like, yeah, you hit him because you're sick of him. But that's not the character. And they were like, no, this is a joke. This doesn't exist in anybody's timelines. It's just a little joke. But I thought that was really cute that they still had the characters like, no, my character wouldn't hit people.
That's great.
So that's also in the thing, which is very funny.
The original Belle, incredible.
So quickly before we end. All right, so we've done Dave Chase, the lady. Full of Tia Korea, we know all about her. Kevin Mcdonald, who does the voice of
I know that name.
Pleakley, the guy with the one eye.
The one eye.
So Kevin Mcdonald was in New Kids in the Hall, which was the Canadian
New Kids on the Block.
No. It's been more. It's like not Saturday Night Live, but it's a sketch.
Yes, I know.
Huge, sketch comedy, and he's brilliant. He was. This is gonna excite you, maybe not.
Okay.
Kevin Mcdonald. I mean, he's been in loads of things, but he was uncredited as the Disco Strangler in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No way!
That's it.
Okay.
That's a good one.
We're in.
Ving Rhames is Bubbles. We all know what he's been in. Yeah, he's amazing.
Legend.
Zoe Caldwell was the super lady, the space lady.
Right.
She's just a Broadway person. I don't know much about any of that, so
okay.
I don't know much. Jason Scott Lee, we talked about Back to the Future 2. Mm-hmm. He played Mowgli in a 1995 version of Jungle Book. Mm-hmm. He played Aladdin as well in another version of not Disney version. Okay. So he's got a little bit of Disney history there.
I definitely recognize that name.
David Ogden Spears.
Mm-hmm.
We know him because we talked about him in Atlantis.
Okay.
Briefly. But we know him more from...
He played Patrick Stewart.
He was Governor Ratcliffe in Pocahontas.
Oh,
right.
Right.
He was some guy in Hunchback that I can't read my writing. He was Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast. He
was lovely.
Narrator of lots of Winnie the Pooh stuff. He was Mr. Harcourt in Atlantis, the guy that threw him a coin, just briefly. And he was in Spirited Away as well. He did the voice of Kamazi, I think the big guy that pulls all the the things. So he was.
I don't know if I've ever seen the dubbed version of Spirited Away.
Oh right, okay.
I'm one of those wankers that only watches the original dubbed version.
But yeah, he was the evil scientist that created Stitch. That turned out not to be evil. But yeah, so he's got a huge heritage. I think this was his last Disney film that he did before he died.
Wow.
But what I love about this again with these people is all of them reprise their roles in all of the other films and the whole series. Right.
Yeah, there was a real love for the characters and the.
So I thought that was really cute.
There seemed to from the that was one of the things I knew is that in the sequels and the spin-offs and stuff is that they retained a lot of the original actors, which is kind of rare in these situations. because everyone knows that Disney sequels and spin-offs and stuff, that they're not as successful. They're kind of thrown out there, and so they usually get voice actors in to imitate the original performers.
Yeah, and I think again that comes from the folksy, the way it was made is so different from a normal Disney film. It's like two guys in a room. They go out, they listen to everyone. They go, all right, is the dialogue wrong? Let's get it right. They've been building it up, trying to fix it with everyone included, and I think that really comes across.
Man, that's so cool.
So Ving Rhames, going back to him, he was cast after. So originally, if you watch the concept drawings for the social worker, was going to be like someone like me with glasses, balding, thin, like total nerd. And then somehow they got Ving Rhames.
Right.
So they had to totally change.
You're like, this does not work for Ving Rhames.
Yeah, and then the way that the writers put it was like that changed everything, because then it was like an unstoppable object. Being Stitch versus and Lilo
object.
Yeah, being him. Suddenly that changed their dynamic, because before they were both pushing around the social worker was like getting all flustered and stuff. But when you've got him, it's like this solid brick wall.
Well, when you've got the Cyclops alien character being that kind of like, oh, what's going on? Like, you can't really have a second one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So making the social worker like that is kind of irrelevant, and I think having the big Ving Rhames Agent Bubbles kind of thing, like that really stands out more.
It makes it realer as well, because for the horror of losing your sibling or your family, and then there's this guy who's not like flappable, who's very much government. It just makes it a lot more real.
Well, it's much more believable, but it's also much more variety. I think having the Cyclops alien character as that character is creates a lot more variety and a lot more comedy. And also it means that when Agent Bubbles is helping out and being, because Agent Bubbles is great, like throughout that entire thing, he was kind of an antagonist, but he never really did anything wrong. Even when we were like, no, don't take Lilo away from Nanny, you were like, well, I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's an it's
the house is on fire. He's got an argument.
It's an extra layer of like social workers don't necessarily. I'm not speaking about all social workers, but in general, they probably don't want to take your kids away from you.
No, and it was very cool. So yeah, I really loved that character. Very different.
Yeah, it was really cool. So the last actor here is Kevin Michael Richardson, who we know from everything. I'm not even going to go into it because I thought that's too much. But if you go on his IMDb, he's Family Guy. He's in everything.
Everything.
And he is amazing. So there we go. I think that's everything.
Wait, who did he play in this?
He was the big shark boy.
Oh, he was Street Sharks.
Yeah, he was Street Sharks.
Nice.
So yeah. Yeah, there's one more thing I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
And that is Chris Sanders in general, one of the directors and writers and creators of this story.
Is he the one that wrote the
original book? And the character designs, and he got Dean in to, and they both whacked at it for a year. Yeah. So Chris Sanders, from what I can tell, seems like a really nice, funny, like crazy guy based on like the footage and stuff. He's really, really interesting, really funny. This was a huge success for Disney.
Right.
Huge, as we said.
It's funny because it's not how people think of it, I don't think. At least that's not how I thought. I don't think of this as a huge success for Disney. I know Stitch sold a lot of toys, but I don't think of it as a big hit.
But financially it was. So, that's the way it works. And I feel, as we said, critically and like emotionally, it works really, really well. So after this, he was set off to make a film for Disney called American Dog.
Okay.
And he worked on it for ages, and apparently it was like, obviously because he's the kind of person he is, it was very much a passion project, and he spent a lot of time on it. And John Lasseter and some other guy got employed by Disney at this point to try and turn around Disney. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they did was they IMDb says they sacked him from American Dog. Now, did they sack him from Disney? I've gone into forums from the time to try and figure out, because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to tell whether I think it's just a wordplay thing. It's good. So they took him off the project that he was working on.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they offered him other projects or whether they just took him off and then didn't, that's a different thing. So technically he was sacked from American Dog, but still maybe still in the books.
But in effect, potentially sacked from Disney.
And there was loads of different reasons why. People were saying that John Lasseter didn't like the way it was going to be all CGI, because that's, at the time, Disney were like, all right, we need a CGI. CGI is really big. We need a CGI thing. So they've been working on a CGI thing. But that doesn't hold up truth, because American Dog turned into Bolt, which was all CGI.
Right, yeah.
But with none of Chris Sanders, like whatever's left in there wasn't there. So there's still a question of, I don't know, I think he felt really bad, and
so was John Lasseter behind Bolt then? In the end?
Yeah, he ended up, and Meet the Robinsons, but that was already in production. So that period of Disney,
because neither of us have seen either of those films, right?
No, I might have seen Bolt. I'll only be able to tell because I've got it on DVD. But
everyone I know that's seen Bolt says they loved it. I haven't met anyone that said Bolt was rubbish. I've met people that haven't seen it. But
I feel like there's
good.
one or two bits that I know, and I don't know whether that's because I've seen it and it's forgettable, or whether I've
from
seen
trailers
it
or
YouTube videos or something. So I genuinely don't know. But I feel like after the success of Lilo and Stitch, that for that to happen is really weird, and and it seems to be from John Lasseter, and people were like, oh no, it's because it was going to be CGI, and John Lasseter wanted Disney to go back to traditional animation, and like, but that didn't. Right. But Bolt was still CGI, and so
that didn't happen until 2009 with Princess and the Frog.
So the Winnie the Pooh, was that before then, or
no? That was after
then, right? But it's just really weird, and I've tried to look into it. But he's been happy. He's one of the writers for How to Train Your Dragon, which is a beautiful film. It's
a great film. I didn't know you'd seen How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I've just not seen the second one or the third one or anything.
They're all great. They're as far as non-Disney film goes, How to Train Your Dragon is my favorite franchise.
Yeah, so I mean, he's doing well for himself, and he's a very incredible, talented person. And everyone who works with him says he's lovely. So that just made me. It stuck it out that, like, why did they decide to push him out?
Yeah,
but it was I think an internal shift in Disney, and maybe he doesn't work the way that they wanted him to.
Right.
And it turns out John Lasseter is not as nice a person as
yes. So we've heard,
not entirely sure. I'd still like to chat to them about it. That would be nice.
Yeah, give them a call.
I will. I'll check them out. And the only other thing,
tell them we've got 10 downloads on our podcast.
Yeah,
see if they want to come on,
and they'll be like, they were all us.
Yeah.
You're under investigation.
Yeah.
The only other thing to say about Lilo and Stitch, well, I'm sure there'll be other things that we'll get into, but in a future date, they are planning a live action.
So when I was making the promo picture for this to spread on Discord and social media to let people know we were doing this, I was looking for pictures of Lilo and Stitch, and I did find lots of pictures of live action.
But I think they're from. I don't think they're genuine. I think they're from people making them.
I think so. I thought so. I didn't look into it, but I looked at them and immediately thought, this is not. Surely.
I was gonna put some up, and then I got into it, and it was like a DeviantArt, some amazing artist had done recreations and stuff. So I was like, I'm not gonna do like fan art of what it might look like.
Yeah.
But it is in production, and it will be interesting to see, the Sonic the Hedgehog effect for the character design of Stitch.
Yes,
because if they do it like those DeviantArt guys have done it and made it real monster-y,
which was very, very like the original Sonic. Actually, that's a really good comparison. The images I saw were very like OG Sonic.
Yeah, they need to keep the original beautiful design.
But
if they do that, then they'll have to maybe credit Chris Sanders for design, which they might not want to do. So they might want to make it different enough. So I don't know how any of that works, but it's keeping an eye on it. I'm keeping an eye on it for Chris.
Yeah,
my boy Chris.
For good old Chris Sanders.
Yeah. So I think that's us. I think we're at the end of this. Unless there's anything else you want to chat about?
No, I don't think so.
Regarding particularly the film,
obviously. There might have been, but I've forgotten.
So thank you very much for joining us. This has been very special. Hopefully it's all worked out, and we'll get it nice and edited.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Thank you to everyone in the chat that has joined in. Sorry to anyone that's listening to this as a podcast that didn't get any of the chat. but we're obviously editing that out for ease of production.
But if you come to twitch.tv/Ross and MiKo, you'll get to see it. You get to be in the chat. You can join our Discord. Also, apologies to our chat for ignoring you currently while we are trying to do the podcast. So
yes,
apologies to everyone all around.
It's a delicate balance. So that is the end of our Lilo and Stitch podcast. I think we've covered it all. Thank you very much, Ross, for being the keeper of truth. You did a fantastic job.
It's all right.
Yeah,
I'd do it for anyone.
Loads of good stuff in there. And I loved the film so much more than I thought I was going to.
It'll haunt you. You'll watch it again soon.
I will. I really will. I absolutely loved it. So thank you very much for bringing that to the table. And that's brought us to the end. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Absolutely not.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Marvelous. Well, thank you very much for coming to Happily Ever After with Ross and MiKo. This has been Ross.
Goodbye.
And I've been MiKo.
Goodbye.
And we will see you on the next one. Stay magic.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
I feel strange.
It means you're a baboon, and I'm not.
I'm talking about like a big bear.
Phenomenal cosmic powers!